So, hello everybody. Today I would like to talk a bit about how you can track your campaigns in Capturely and why actually it's good to track your campaigns in Capturely. But at the beginning, just let's discuss why you should even use campaign tracking on your website. So when you are a junior online marketer and you just set up your first online marketing advertisement, then you are satisfied when you receive a lot of clicks on the ad. But that's usually not the real case, and it's not the point where the story ends. Because in most of the cases, it also matters what happened on your website after a user click on an ad. Mm-hmm. And it's really, really important because that will have a huge effect on your conversion. And actually, this is how you need to understand if you could fulfill the expectations of your visitor or not, because that will determine how your ad really going on and what is the real result of your advertisements online. So let's just have an example. If you just run an ad that which says free beer, and you lead a lot of traffic to your website for free, but your website is about cleaning machines, then of course you will receive a lot of traffic for a low price. But after that, they will just churn. Your visitors will just churn because they didn't expect that they will land on a website of cleaning machines. Mm-hmm. So that's just an example to show you why it matter what you say on your website and what you say on your ad. But these things are in relation. And actually, when we just think about your customer funnel, it usually doesn't start on your website, but usually starts before they arrive to your website. And the message you tell them in your advertisements need to match with your message on the website. And,
absolutely.
And it should be handled as one funnel. And it should be, and you should consider this.
It should be congruent, yeah. There shouldn't be a disconnection between your messaging and between your messaging on your landing page. Now, I see more people are joining on Facebook. So for everybody who are joining right now, we are talking about how to track your campaigns based on the traffic source and in very detailed manner. So you'll be able to understand your customers really into detail, like what they are doing on your website, if they come from Facebook, if they come from Google, how far they scroll, why they churn, and so on. So if you have any questions about this, please feel free to let me know in the comments, and we'll be answering it.
Yeah, all of the questions are really welcome. And but how you can track this? So how you can create this connection between your online advertisements and Capturely or with other analytics, but in this case with Capturely. So first of all, you can have, of course, a dedicated landing page. That's a great thing. If it's in connection with the message of your advertisement, then you can reach a huge conversion rate from there. So creating a dedicated landing page for each of your advertisements, that's also great advice to have. But it usually takes a lot of time and resources to create a good landing page for each of your advertisements. So it just can be handled in each cases, but it's always a good idea to think about it. And after, of course, when the user arrives to this landing page, you can track those users from the point they enter your website, because this landing page will be part of your website and they will continue the journey from that point. The other solution is adding the pixel of the ad platform to your website. For example, LinkedIn or Facebook have their own conversion pixel. You can add it to the website and you can track the ad traffic by these pixels as well. Actually, I'm not a big fan of these pixels, and I also read about many methodology problems about using these pixels. My main problem is that if you use these pixels to track the performance of your ads, then you just can't compare it to your normal website visitors, because they will be tracked probably in Google Analytics or in Capture.ly. And the methodology won't be the same. So you just can't say that, okay, I saw in Facebook that my users from that spends 5 minutes on my website, but Capture.ly says they spend 5 minutes and a half on the website, because the methodology can differ, and that matters a lot. So it's always advised to use the same methodology to track all of your customers. So we always advise to have an analytics platform and try to collect every data with that analytics platform. And this is why Capture.ly can be a good solution, because we both track the qualitative and the quantitative side as well. So in Capture.ly, as I will show you in a few minutes, you can track both what happened on your website and why is it happened. So we also track the mouse clicks, the mouse movements, the session, and we create a video recording of each session replay on your website. So it can be a huge benefit. It can be a huge add-on to also check the real behavior of your customers on your website. And we always prefer to use an analytics platform and not rely on the analytics of the ad platforms you use. The other one, to find the connection between your ads and your website visits, is the referral URLs. It's just basically when you have a user from Facebook, then we can show that, okay, he was from Facebook, so you can track it by this. Or if you use the parametered URL, then we can also show you this, and you can also filter for these visitors. And of course, you can also combine these tools, or actually these techniques together, and you can differ it campaign by campaign. But before we move on, I'm not sure if everybody is familiar with campaign parameters and campaign URLs. So let's have this example. It's the blue part is the main URL of the web hosting service, what I will use as an example for today. And when you build up parameters that can track separately, and it will help you to identify what was the source of your customer and where did they come from. They come from one of your articles on Medium, or they came from one of your sales deal you have, for example, on Facebook or on Twitter. And you can simply build these parameters by Google URL Builder. That's a great tool to build these parametered URLs. Facebook, for example, we create them automatically. So in the case of Facebook, if you add your links to Facebook posts, these parametered URLs will be created automatically. And now I just want to, I just want to show you this campaign URL builder if you are not familiar with it. So it's pretty easy and simple to create URLs like this. So you just add the main website URL here in the top, and after that you can add source, campaign medium, campaign name, and other parameters, and Google will automatically create this URL for you. And if you use this URL anywhere, so you can use it on Facebook, you can use it in Medium, you can use it in LinkedIn or in other articles, in other platforms you use, then the user can be tracked by this URL, and it will be shown in Capture.ly as well that this user came from this URL, and I will just show it how does it happen. So we just arrived to Capture.ly, and as I mentioned in Capture.ly we track both the metrics and both the qualitative part, but first we will start with the metrics. So in Capture.ly, in the acquisition menu, you can find the traffic sources, and the traffic sources, you can see how many of your visitors arrived from websites, from campaigns, from search engines, or they were direct traffic. And you can also check which was the search engine they used. So in the case, for example, if you use AdWords, then you can see how many of your customers arrived from Google. And if you go just a bit down, then you can see the referral types in the table version as well, but you can also check the quality data related to each referrer type. So for example, what was the average session length, and how many actions they made from the given channel. And it can help you a lot to determine what was the best channel and where you need to focus. So here you can also check the referral URLs. And as you can see here, each URL where we had traffic from with this test website is tracked, and all the quantity information is also here. So it can be a great help when you, for example, run an ad on a partner website or on Facebook to determine if it works and what is the quantity number. Because as I mentioned before, if you just have the number that, okay, I had 200 CTA clicks from 400,
it doesn't say anything, right?
Yeah, 400 ad appearance, that doesn't mean anything if they just churn and the bounce rate is over 90% and they just leave your website. So always keep it in mind, and always continue to track your ad traffic with your analytics tools as well. But if we just dig a bit, and one more thing, the landing pages. So as I mentioned, if you have a landing page, a dedicated landing page for your advertisement, then you will find the URL of your dedicated landing page here, and you will also receive this quantity information relating to that landing page, and you can see how the page really perform in numbers. But if we dig a bit deeper, and we are also interested in the qualitative part of this and want to see how our visitors really take actions on our website, then we can go just simply to recordings. And on the recordings page, you will see here, I don't know if you're not familiar with Capture yet, I hope you will be by next week. But if you're not familiar with Capture yet, here we list all the recordings we create about your sessions. And here you can replay them and watch back each sessions you had on your website. And as you see, we list the landing pages as well. So the page where the traffic landed, and you can filter for this parameter here in the filters. The start page is where the user landed. And by this, for example, if you have a dedicated landing page, you can filter for it. It will appear in the list. And let's just say, no, I want to search for the domain page, and Capture will list for me all the related session recordings. Oh, sorry, just didn't use that. Yeah, here I have all the recordings where the user started on the domain page, and I can just simply click on one of these recordings, and Capture will replay me how the user used the given given page and what happened there. But now I will clear filters, because I want to show you that in the first row, you can see the referrer URL as well. So this means where the traffic came from. So you can also search for this, and you can see, for example, how your Google, Facebook, or Twitter traffic perform. And one more thing, I already talked about Google URL Builder and why it's a great tool. Because if you just saw on my presentation, on my keynote presentation, that you could see that I just used this 2019 Q3 deal parameter in the URL, and since I received traffic from there, I can just click on it, because it was a campaign name, and I can simply filter for it, and all the related recordings will appear here, and I can simply just play the recording, what I want to see, and I can check how the users use my website who came from that channel.
Yes.
And and by this, I can just simply understand how they use the website, if they understand the message I want to tell them or not, and what are the main parts they use on the website.
Akos, we have a question,
yes.
which is quite common from Dennis, but good question. Thanks a lot. And he asks, does Capturely slow down the website?
No, it doesn't. We use an asynchronous code, so that means it downloads parallel with your website, so it won't slow down the performance of your website.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know that's a really common question, because people just want to have a good SEO. So of course it would be an issue, but no, it won't slow down your website. Actually, once we started to use Facebook with Capturely, we set up the first Facebook campaign, and we saw that we received tons of traffic from Facebook. But when we started to see the recordings, we just saw that but there was no mouse movements on the recording. So the user stayed on the page, but there was no mouse movements at all. And we didn't know what happened, but it wasn't normal. So we saw that it's not normal. And we started to dig deeper, and we just found that the problem was the Facebook audience network. And because we also received traffic from the Facebook audience network, which means that Facebook show or ad in mobile games as well. And in mobile games, when you have an ad, a lot of bots will click on the ads to generate money for the owner of the ad. And a lot of bots came to our website from our advertisement. Of course, we paid for the advertisement at the beginning and for this bad traffic. And with the session replace, we could easily filter out that, okay, that there is no good traffic from this Facebook ads, and we could optimize our campaigns. So this is an example why it matters, but it can easily happen that that people from Facebook just won't find the right CTA you want to show them. And don't forget that people from different culture can have different behavior on your website, and that can also matter. So
yes,
all of these things can matter when it comes to ad optimization. And now I already showed you the recordings, and I also want to show you the heat maps and how you can use heat maps for optimizing your ads and your channels. In the heat maps, here you can see all the URLs where we have heat maps on our website. And now I will just check the main page. And Capturely will generate me a heat map for the main page from all the clicks for a given time period. As you can see, many people use the login part, the web hosting part, and domain part of our website, actually the menus of our website. But this is the normal heat map. I already showed it to you in our previous webinars, but the really interesting part is the segments. If I click on segments, that just show me the clicks, but not an aggregated data of the clicks. But each individual clicks by channels, by referrals. So here, as you can see, here we have a huge list of clicks. And if I just want to see the clicks of the direct traffic, then I can just simply click on it, and Capturely will show me the clicks from direct traffic. But let's say I ran an advertisement of Bing search engine, then I can just see the clicks from Bing, or just the clicks from Google, and this can also help a lot to understand what motivates the user who came to my website
Yes.
to give an advertisement. Because, for example, let's say I ran an ad which also promote the web hosting and the domain services of this website. And but I see that all of the users from Google will go to the domain section. That probably means that that traffic, what I receive from AdWords, are mostly interested in domains. So maybe I should just skip web hosting services for my ads, optimize my advertisements, lower the cost of my advertisements, and increase the conversion of it by simply checking and understanding how users I really use my website who came from a given advertisement. But beside referrer, here in the segment heat map, you can also search for other parameters. So you can also determine if a user is a new user, or they just a returned user from previous visits. We can also filter the clicks by operating system. So actually this one is also great when I just run a mobile advertisement or just a desktop advertisement, because in this way I can filter out the other devices. And it can be, of course, also a great tool when you want to optimize your website for mobile, or you know that there is a problem, for example, on Android devices. Then you can just filter out the Android clicks and see if the problem stands for the users, or they can already use your website as you.
Yes. Okay.
And the other one is the browser. That is also, it's pretty similar to the operating system, and you can also filter it out for devices. So for desktop, mobile, if you don't need it on a device level, then you can filter also for device groups like mobile or desktop. So actually, there are, as I show you, there are many ways to use Capturely for understanding your campaign traffic better, and and how your advertisements perform better. And if you want to have a successful campaigns and you want to run successful advertisements online, then you need to do this, because in the last few years, according to my experiences, costs and expenses to advertise online just rise like rockets. So it raised a lot, and that's a problem for many new businesses, because it's just getting more and more expensive to advertise online. And but when you understand, when you put effort in it and you understand your advertisements and the real behavior behind the performance of your advertisements, then you can optimize your website and your campaigns better, and it will mean cheaper leads to your website and for your business. And nowadays it's just getting more and more important, even when you try to use more channels, because most of the channels, as I mentioned before, they are just getting more and more expensive. So especially when you are in a market where there is a huge
competition.
Yes, exactly.
I'm thinking, what do you think is like minimum number of visitors I should be receiving to really put action Capturely? Because I can imagine that if I'm receiving like 10 visits a day, I'm not really sure like if it's for me.
Yeah, that's if you want to use heat maps. So heat maps are aggregated data. For heat maps, you need a lot of visits, because that will tell you something. For heat maps, I think you need at least 100, 200, so a few hundred of clicks on a page to determine how users use this page. But it doesn't need to happen in one day, because you can also filter for time range. So if you have, for example, 500 clicks in a month on a page, that's something. So you can start to tell something from the data. But when it comes to session recordings and it comes to replaying each of your sessions, then actually a few visits can tell you something. So if you see that users start to use your website as you wanted and as you expected, for example, in the case of an online store, they start to search for products, they spend time with products and with browsing products. That means that probably your website works well and people understand what you want with your website and what you want with your service. So for session replays, I think 10 visit is
yes.
10 meaningful visit can be already useful to work on.
All right. Okay, so can you actually show us how exactly to set it all up from the very start? Like if we want to track this, so where should we start? Like we should start with creating the UTM link?
Yeah. When you start to build your online campaign, I always advise to use a UTM, what I showed you in for example, in Google Campaign URL Builder. Start to create a link, and after a link is created, you can use this link in your advertisements, and that's a great way to track that. And after you have a Capture profile, then after you have a Capture profile and the tracking code is added to your website, then we will track all of this automatically. So you don't need to make any changes in the settings. You don't need to set up any tracking preferences. We will track all the URLs, or the campaign, or the UTM campaigns, or the referrals, and all this data what I show you today. We track these automatically. So if Capture is set and the tracking code is added to your website, then you will have all of this information at your hand. Okay.
Steven asks, those heat maps filters look great. Is there a way to filter by simple maximum time or engagement across all the categories? Thanks.
Not yet, but it's already something that we have discussed. And if you receive that people need this, what you just mentioned, then of course it can be a future feature of heat maps.
Future feature.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a question. If I change something on a website, right? I change a landing page structure or something, and then in the heat map section, I will filter out the two different dates. One when the date is one when the website was old, and the second when the website was new. Will it be still like it takes the screenshot of the website on the specific day, right?
Yeah. So if you make changes on your website, that can also change the heat maps. We are the CSS, so where the design of your website is stored. We reach it out, so we reach your server to receive the CSS of your website. So if you don't have the previous CSS, that can be a problem for heat maps. Because in the heat maps, we don't create images, but we render all the websites what you want to visit. So basically, Capture works like a browser. We create the website from code, and it's not just an image. That's required to become much more dynamic. And so if you make any changes, it's advised to keep the previous CSS you used as well, or check the data before you make the changes, because of course if we can't reach your website's code, that can cause issues on the heat maps.
I see. Okay, so when I filter a specific day, it still like builds the website from the newest CSS code.
Yes. Exactly.
Okay, I got it. All right, cool. So I don't see any other questions, but I would like to ask, let's say that I'm starting a new e-commerce store, right? I'm starting to run some traffic. I receive, I don't know, 50, 100 visits a day. If we won't be talking about like this tracking, how exactly I can use Capture?
Okay, so first of all, you just need to add the tracking code, and I would absolutely check the documentations because we have a integration how-tos and plugins for most of the main common e-commerce engines.
So for example, Shopify.
Yeah, we have plugins for Shopify, Magento, WooCommerce, OpenCart, PrestaShop. So all of these products are covered. So first of all, I would add the tracking code, but Capture start to track your website automatically, and we create heat maps automatically from all the pages which were visited. That means you don't need to set up each URLs one by one, for example, in the heat maps, but we'll create everything automatically. So you just need to add the tracking code and wait a few hours. It also, of course, it depends on your traffic. But you need to wait a few hours to receive enough traffic to save something. But I would absolutely start with session recordings, because as I mentioned, from session recordings, only from a few meaningful session recordings, you can say something about the usage of your website, and you can just create the first insight and have the first insights about your customers, and if they understand your website and your checkout process. And after that, as I mentioned before, when I have a few hundred clicks, I will start to check the heat maps as well, and have an insight about the overall clicks and overall data as well.
All right, makes sense. Okay, I don't see any other question, guys. If you need to know something about tracking or about Capturely in general, just feel free to ask us. We are here. And for those of you who don't know, Capturely is launching this week, right?
Yeah,
on 31st.
This Thursday, yeah.
Dan, are you excited?
Yes, we are.
So let me quickly show you when it will happen. So this was today's webinar, Ultimate Campaign Tracking, Understand Site Behavior by Traffic Source. And on Thursday, is it Thursday, right?
Yes.
Yes, Capturely is launching.
Yes, it is.
So we will walk you through everything you saw in the presentation from Akos in the platform itself. So we'll walk you through the features, through the menu, how it all works, how to set up everything. So make sure you will join, because this is, as Akos mentioned, must for new online marketers if you want to understand your customers way more. So go to capturely.pitchground.com and register for this webinar, because we'll go live on 5:30 Central European Time on 31st of October, which is Thursday. Once again, capturely.pitchground.com. It will take you to this nice landing page. You will just fill in your email address and that's it. Let me quickly check the questions again if we have something here. Nope, I don't see it. So yeah, I think that's it for today, Akos.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much for everybody for having today's webinar, and see you soon on Thursday.
Absolutely, yeah. So thanks everybody for watching. A replay will be available on YouTube. It will be available on our Facebook page as well, of course. So if you missed something or you needed to leave during the webinar, you can still watch it, no problems. So guys, everybody, I will see you on the Thursday. Akos, enjoy your day.
Enjoy the day. See you
soon. All right,
soon.
thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.